normally when people think about France, I feel as though the Leaning Tower of Pisa might get some consideration. Maybe the food that could be doubled as a weapon, aka baguettes, could be given some consideration. But I have significant doubts that anybody is thinking about a gorilla on a drug trip. But hey, when you ask Les Impératrices about their song Hématome, then it's a possibility. This is my second foray into a song that is completely not in English, so my American brain is going to try and talk about what I garnered from the song and the visuals that were provided to me. This is a groovy song. It feels really light, but not in this sort of happy, summery way, and sort of more of a melancholic way where there's this sort of distant feeling, and it's hard to say exactly where that feeling is going without the visuals, because the visuals are my cheat sheet. I am assuming that the visuals have something to do with the song, and the animation was really neat too. With this music video, what existed was sort of this person that was in a hospital, and they get injected, and then they turn into a variety of different animals, and the nurse is this gorilla person who drags this because first it turns into the human turns into a cat, a giant one, that gets covered in a sheet, and then when the gorilla lady is at the gas station, the gas pump turns into a snake, and then the cat becomes a woman, and when the gorilla goes to touch the woman, who you see a lot of very pretty or fairly attractive women throughout this entire video, and what it seems to be about as we see the animal transform a couple more times until its head gets popped off very brutally. It's funny. It's kind of cartoonish the way they do it, and it's like the blood is streaming everywhere. But then, like, for some reason, the gorilla pulls out this really other weird fluid, and now the guinea pig's head becomes giant and blows them out of the house, and it's just like, what is going on here? And when I watched it, I was like, okay, this is interesting, but also what the hell is going on? And what I garnered from looking at the visuals was that it had something to do with self-image, and it had something to do with comparisons. A lot of the times when we look at ourselves, we don't have the exact same pictures that others might of us. People might give you compliments and tell you that you're wonderful and nice, but ultimately it comes down to a significant amount of self-confidence and self-belief to really let these things be cemented in our skulls. But for the most part, it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. There's a little bit of disconnect, and when people struggle with that, they turn to various forms of coping mechanisms or other things that are affordable. Shout out therapy, because I heard that thing is expensive. But you know what's free? Sometimes it just be like that. Free. Anyway, joking aside, if you can afford therapy, definitely get it if you need it. But yeah, no, it's this idea of self-image, because at the very end, the gorilla ends up at a bar, is just crying and gets up, and then gets choked by the magical animal bees that have... Because yeah, at some point it becomes a bunch of bees. I'm not doing a service to this music video because it's really cool and really well animated, and I really love parts where the animation actually syncs up with the beat in a sort of more subtle way, where if you're looking and watching it, you'll be like, oh, they did it right when the drums did that. Cool. It's not like with Mystery Skull's Ghost, which was also well animated in its own fun cartoony way, where the whole thing was like the beat was going, like you couldn't not tell where it was synced. The gorilla is at a bar, is crying, and then gets knocked down by the bees who have returned after knocking her off of a friggin' bridge. And as she is on the ground and other forms of people, it's mostly what would be considered women coming up and looking down on her, and the bees turn into a syringe, and she jabs herself with it and looks like an attractive woman. But I guess the plot twist is she's dead now. It seems to be that there's some format of substance abuse, and it's being done to parlay a certain image into the world, to show people that this is what I look like, this is who I want to look like. That seems to be what the whole music video gets up to, before ending on that, oh hey, I already looked like I wanted to look like, but because of my own self-doubt and pain, I couldn't truly see myself as that without this substance. And that's unfortunate. And I think it's sort of like, now this is a reach, but what I think about with this too is the word is hematome. And again, I'm probably saying that super wrong because I did no Googles. I didn't cheat this time. I didn't translate anything. I'm doing this just off the dome. Hematome makes me think of the injury hematoma, when you have, like, I think it's like when it's like it's a swollen bruise, and as it builds up, you know, that pain and angst doesn't really go away, and so it's very dangerous for these things to build up, much like any kind of emotional damage, where if it builds up enough, you will only see yourself as a monster, and healing becomes an even more tenuous process when you add on various coping mechanisms that may be dangerous or harmful that you can get easily addicted to. Alcohol, drugs, whole 9 yards. You know, those are the popular ones, and there's various other forms such as unfortunate self-harm, but self-harm kind of feeds into those too. So when you have that kind of mind and that kind of situation, and you are suffering in that way, it can be difficult to see yourself as anything but that monster. And so what it feels like the song is about is getting consumed by that. And it seems as though the gorilla nurse is sort of victim to that, but it seems as though the coping mechanisms of which she uses has affected someone else. And because it's affected someone else, it's affecting her secondhand. Or at the very least, this is what it sort of looks like to me. You know, when you're trying to get better, it's like trying to get over something and then hopping into a relationship or something when you're clearly not emotionally available for that thing. And that becomes an even more explosive situation. So you created more minefields for yourself when you're already trying to get the grenade off of your hand because it's just stuck there. In terms of the visuals, really lovely, really cool art style. And in terms of the song itself, really groovy, funky. I feel like I'm drifting along in sort of this melancholic space, and it sort of has like a bit of a haze to it, but not like you're in some insane fog, but it's more this sad, thick kind of, almost not thick, but thin fog that you can't seem to fully clear out. And that's what it feels like. I really love the singer on here. It's got a really nice voice, and the instrumental is just nice. It's good. I'm vibing with it. And yeah, I could be 100% wrong. That's the power of not knowing. I believe that my whole guess is that this is a French band, French music group, French music act. I enjoyed that. I was captured by it, and I want to go explore more because it seems like this is somewhat a popular group, or at least they've had hits before from what I just saw peeking on Spotify. But yeah, La Imperatrice. I'm saying La. L'Imperatrice. Hématome. Hemoglobin. Well, this guy says, I may not know a lot of French, but I can do something like I can lean like a tower of Pisa. So you know. Oui, oui. Okay. No, that one hurt. Okay, I guess I'm not French. Never was, but I'm not French. Oh well. I'll just stay American then.